In this video, I am cannibalizing this old painting so that I can stretch watercolor paper over top of the stretchers. This is for a 1000 prompt, which was reaching new heights, and I already had the perfect thing for this. And don't ask me how I get perfect corners because I think that it's mostly just magic. Now I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff in this video, one of which is Watercolor Galaxy, and I was pleased to discover that masking fluid, when splattered on paper, actually holds its shape really well, so it makes a nice perfect round spot compared to like acrylic paint that just looks kind of splattery, you know what I mean? I'm also doing like watercolor sunset with clouds. I'm doing watercolor gemstones, things that I personally think are probably popular tutorials, so I'm hoping to make as much of that as clear as possible. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, man, this person doesn't seem to know exactly what they're doing, you're right. I'm a really nervous painter, which is why you see me sort of doing lots of really quick short strokes all the time. I'm not really confident with clouds for some reason. They never really look like anything during the process of making them. And all my paintbrushes are too small for a surface this big, so I think it turns out anyway, but whatever. So while I'm doing the cloud thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm doing. So for this prompt, I used to have a painting where birds that I called starhawks are hanging gemstones in the sky. It's just representative of bringing in the night sky at sunset. And in the first painting, the gems this bird was hanging was cracked, and it was supposed to represent being brave enough to show your work in the world and tell your story even if you don't think that you're ready yet, or if you don't think that it's good enough. Because a cracked gemstone is often just as pretty as a perfect one, to me anyway. And in this part 2 version, the starhawk is back and he's hanging his best work, and he is soaring higher than he's ever been before. And the story that I'm telling is about being able to appreciate where you are by looking down at where you've been, comparing your work or your circumstances to where you used to be, rather than up above you at where other people are doing. I think this time of year, especially with all the Inktober stuff, even though I personally think October is a really lousy month to make yourself busy, there's a lot of discourse now, not just about improving yourself, but also about the monetization of our hobbies and losing track of why you're doing things, and whether or not you can just make art and learn how to do new things without feeling pressured to turn it into something greater than it is, you know? And so I'm hoping that just kind of taking a moment to compare yourself to your past self is probably a nicer way to see where you are and alleviate a little bit of that stress. But anyway, I also just want to make sure that I can talk a little bit about how I'm doing certain things in case it's not very clear. There are always going to be better ways to do things. Like I said, I'm a really nervous painter, so I feel like I don't go in deep and dark enough the first go around. But I gotta say, like, the masking fluid splatter worked so unbelievably well. I didn't use any white paint on this at all in the end, so that was pretty good. And you'll just see me strengthening the color when all the layers are dried and it's just not quite dark enough for me. And sometimes it just seems like a silly way to do it because my paintbrush is small, but it's a method. I also originally wanted this piece to be longer so that I can get a much longer like sunset to galaxy gradient, because that would have been more of a distinction between this piece and my first piece. I'd show you what that looks like, except I don't seem to have any evidence of it. I don't know why. It's a piece that I sold locally really quickly, so I know I have a photo, but I don't know where it is. But unfortunately, it kind of looks almost exactly like this. You'll also see me doing this bird. I'm using kind of like a technique where I'm painting around the lines. Especially for deeper colors, I tend to lose the shape of whatever I'm painting because you can't see any lines through it. So I often will paint inside the lines and leave an unpainted edge. So it kind of looks like a negative. It works sometimes. Gemstones I actually really enjoy painting. It's not that bad. I think the hardest part is drawing the initial line art because that's very geometric. And you can find gemstone cut diagrams on Google Images and use that as a reference. But once you get the tricky line art part down, it's really just a matter of filling it in with a color that you like. And then while it's still wet, just drop deeper or analogous colors into it. Maybe just like a warmer yellow, a stronger yellow, a cooler yellow, maybe a red, you know, just vary the color that's inside of it in whatever way that you feel like. And just remember to leave little triangles here and there that are unpainted so that it looks like light reflecting off of it. And then after it's dry, I just go in and divide the existing shapes into smaller and smaller triangles with very, very like dark ones here and there, especially around the reflections. I am not using reference at this point. I'm just kind of winging it, and it usually looks pretty decent. And then I don't have to make myself blind trying to make a gemstone look like a very specific gemstone. This works just fine. And it's kind of easy. So what now? I have this painting that's stretch on stretchers and it's not going to be under glass. So what do? In this case, I did do really light spray of UV protective finish that I got in an art store. And then I have a tendency to come in with this cold wax medium. It's meant for oil paints, but it also can function as a varnish if you want to. And so it's just a matter of rubbing it on like you're waxing a car. I covered some places with tape so I can glue pieces onto it, but otherwise I'm rubbing the cold wax on everything. And that's why I went in first with the UV spray, because sometimes you end up rubbing the colors into each other and blending colors by accident. And after the wax dries, I can just buff it like a car. And that offers pretty good protection from water. And then I got my extra pieces here that have a little bit of matte board under them just so they stick out slightly. It just makes it look interesting and cool. And here's the finished thing. If you want any quick specific tutorials, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. I make videos like this every Thursday.